Yes, guys, welcome back to GBFC. Today, we're going to go through the Chelsea news. Frank Lampard has spoken about his time as interim manager in a candid interview now that he's at Coventry City. And there's tons of other stories, including the crazy idea of Ronaldo to Chelsea for the Club World Cup. I'm going to tell you now, I think it's absolutely bloody nonsense. But we're going to discuss the upcoming transfer window because it's just a bit crazy, isn't it? Like, we're going to open it for 6 days. We've got the Club World Cup, but then we're going to close it again for not even a week. Why? What's the bloody point? But we begin. First things first, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Chelsea are back on Thursday night. Tottenham at home. It's a big one, and I'm excited for it. And if you want to see more GBFC, the official second channel made a video about Oliver Glasner and Crystal Palace today. It's a great video. Check it out. Link down below. Frank Lampard had this to say. Going back to Chelsea as interim, it was a really tough time at the club. That's true. I think we can all agree. And I saw a lot of things. People question, like, was it the right thing to do? I saw things there that I know can't be right at the elite level, and that's the truth. First things first, if anyone knows about Chelsea Football Club when it was at an elite level, it is Super Frank Lampard. If there was anyone that you could attribute, playing personnel-wise, to why we became such an elite institution who won a lot of trophies, I don't think there's anyone more qualified there to mention the words elite level than Frank Lampard. That is fundamentally the truth. Even as a manager, right, Lampard might not have won us the Champions League, but he was part of a time where 5 months after he left, we won the Champions League. So in terms of the way that the club is being ran, it was ran at an elite level. That's true. There's no denying it. And for Lampard to come out and say this, it's not really a shock to anybody. It doesn't really allude to anything specific. But I think what we can basically paint the picture of here is that when Frank Lampard came in, I don't think even he was blindsided to the idea that it was all going to be rosy. He was going to go on a massive winning run because the damage was already done. The squad that we assembled for Graham Potter wasn't good enough, and then Graham Potter wasn't good enough. And I guess since then, the question really is, and I think this is interesting when you hear Lampard actually come out and say that he saw things that just weren't right. Doesn't that surely just make more people ask questions about, okay, well, what is it that's happening behind the scenes? What is it that is no longer elite level? And I think the answers are straight in everyone's faces, aren't they? The answer is it's all up from the top of the club all the way down. And that's why I've been patient with Maresca. Because as much as he was in the Championship last season, you can't just blame the manager for something because he's only got to work with what he's got to work with. Do you know what I mean? It sounds a bit basic and a bit obvious. What Lampard's discussing here is on club level. It's not just about the playing personnel. So moving forward, I guess it's one of those where I've already made up my mind about what I think's happening. But let's move into the next story. The loans of French midfielder Matisse Amougou and Ecuadorian striker Kendry Páez from Chelsea to Strasbourg are almost completed. First of all, Amougou, never expected anything else. I'm pretty sure we bought him so that he can be a Strasbourg player. Whoopie-doo. Santos comes back. You can have Amougou. No problems, mate. See you later. Kendry Páez, on the other hand, I think about a year ago when we found out that Chelsea was signing Esteval, signing Páez, whatever it was, I thought they were both kind of on a par. I think it could have been they both come straight in. Maybe they both at least had a pre-season. But I think with Esteval, we're seeing consistent levels of like, all right, this kid is seriously a baller. He's doing it pretty much game after game. Whereas with Kendry Páez, there was these moments where he kind of like had a bit of negative publicity. I think there was the vape story. Not that like, you know, I've smoked a cigarette in my flipping time. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, he's off the boil, he's lost the plot. It's lunacy to suggest that. But as a footballer, you've obviously got a level of responsibility. And when you are as good as apparently he is, you'd like to see these young players, particularly when they're that young, right? You want to see them consistently making good decisions for the benefit of themselves, their abilities, and, you know, being role models and all of that stuff because it's important. And when you are that good and you get that move to Chelsea, maybe without the right guidance, you can stray off. And I'm not saying that's why Páez is going on loan to Strasbourg, but I do think it's a good thing. I think we've seen this season with Andrey Santos, who we're about to speak about in a second because that kid is unreal, isn't he? But we've seen how this move to Strasbourg has benefited him this season. And hopefully, as a result of it, we don't see Chelsea go in and be like, ka-ching, cash in, please. I'm hoping that we see how good he's been. We bring him back to Chelsea. Jobs are good in. So maybe it'll be the same for Páez. I actually think this is a good decision. Andrey Santos, on the other hand, just scored his 9th goal of the season, didn't he? In Ligue 1 for Strasbourg, on loan from Chelsea. He's returning to Chelsea in the summer as part of squad plans for next season, as he will be ready for the club's World Cup. I'm telling you now, guys, as much as I've said already, we need a top striker. I want a top striker. I'm excited for Esteval. I think that's going to be cool. I think he's going to be fun, at least to watch. I think he's going to get people off his seats, a bit like Eden Hazard used to do. But I'm genuinely very excited about Andrey Santos. I think the fact that he's captain in Strasbourg and he's been a captain in the youth level in Brazil, he is a leader. The way that he speaks and commands a dressing room, even at youth level, is impressive. And the performances, all in all, he's probably been up there with the likes of Vitinha this season in Ligue 1 as one of the best midfielders in the division. And I think Chelsea need a bit of this, you know. I think you need someone from that midfield. We're not seeing 9 goals this season from Enzo Fernandez. This isn't disrespect to Enzo, because I've already made a video this week saying we need to back this guy. I think we should back him. And he's in good form. But 9 goals this season from Santos is amazing. And this kid is so inexperienced in European football. We saw the Nottingham Forest move. That was like, well, what we bloody doing here then? Now Forest are good and Santos is good. It just wasn't a good match. But it doesn't mean he wasn't a good player. He's absolutely killing it. And some people are even saying that he'll be Chelsea's captain within 3 years. Now, I don't know. I hope not, because probably means Reece James ain't there. And I want Reece Boy to be there. But Andrey Santos, I'm absolutely buzzing to see this guy back in a Chelsea shirt this summer. We move. After Giovanni Quenda, Chelsea want to sign Ousmane Diomande from Sporting, and the fee involved could be close to Quenda's fee. Ousmane Diomande, right? I'm telling you now, this guy on Football Manager, he's absolutely unbelievable. I can see you saying already, Benson, this ain't Football Manager. This is Chelsea. This is serious business. Look, he's very young, but he's having a very good season at Sporting Lisbon. And I actually think he's a really good player. But again, I'm absolutely going to stick to my guns here and say I do think there are more experienced defenders out there that would benefit this team than just going out and signing another young defender. I think maybe a Bastoni would be a dream. Don't think he's going to come, but I think he's at a better level than Ousmane Diomande right now. Really good defender. Let's see if anything progresses with this one further. We move. Joao Felix's agent, Jorge Mendes, has held talks with Galatasaray ahead of a likely Chelsea exit. I mean, Galatasaray are a big club. I'm not going to lie. Osimhen's having a good season there. He's doing well. Great move. Really passionate fan base. But Joao Félix to Galatasaray. What has happened to Joao Félix? What has happened to this guy? Is he going to go to Galatasaray and that is going to be his club? Or is it simply he's just not as good as we thought he was going to be? When is it going to be? When is it the end of the road in terms of club hopping? Do you know what I mean? At this point, as much as I think Felix should have stayed in January, he's not going to come back and stay at Chelsea. Let's be real. Maresca didn't want him at the start. He's not played him in the league from the very get-go. So why is it all of a sudden going to change? If AC Milan don't want him, it's not exactly like he's going to come back into Chelsea and we're like, oh, so glad you're back. We need you. It's not really how it's been for him, and I don't think that's how it's going to go. We move again. This is where you guys might click off because it's silly season. However, Nasser Jabbar, he said this: Man City or Chelsea could potentially sign Cristiano Ronaldo on a 1-month contract just so he can play in the Club World Cup this summer. First of all, it's a good idea to get some clicks because it's got Cristiano Ronaldo's name in it. So well done. On the other hand, we could probably do with some backup at striker, couldn't we? I don't want to see us go ahead and rush this summer coming up because I want us to sign the right striker. If there was an opportunity to have Ronaldo in the squad, I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, by the way. I'm just saying now, if we can't get the striker before the Club World Cup starts, but we could execute a loan for a month for Ronaldo, I think it's better than going into the Club World Cup with the striking options being Jackson and Nkunku. I would rather, it was Jackson and Ronaldo as the Chelsea options for the Club World Cup as the centre forward than Jackson and Nkunku. And I might be stupid by saying that, but it's something that the club might actually like because, you know, they don't have to sign this old man and pay him high wages for a year. They just got to pay him for a month. And it's something they might do just for the publicity. I don't know. I am joking predominantly. I think this is complete nonsense. But it could be interesting, couldn't it? We finished today's video, though. Aston Villa are favourites to secure the signing of England winger Noni Madueke, who could be sold by Chelsea this summer. Depending on how it looks with Esteval and what Maresca thinks of him, I think will depend on what happens to Noni Madueke. And as much as Esteval probably going to stay at Palmeiras for the Club World Cup, there will be a pre-season. Not a very long one, but there will be a pre-season. And I think Noni, if this is my prediction for this summer, I think the Noni Madueke potentially leaving Chelsea, if that is to happen, it will be towards the end of the window. I don't think this is something that will happen early. And I think it would only be as a result of Esteval coming in and just blowing Maresca away. And if that would be the case, then I do think Esteval will probably get priority. Whether or not that's the right decision, I'm still very much unsure about Madueke. I think there is still big potential that he could explode into something, but that's based on what we saw earlier this season. And then it petered off. But he's still young. So what do we expect? What should we expect? It's about normal, isn't it? For a youngster. So again, I think it's great this summer if we can get some experience around some of these young players. So there isn't so much pressure on them. But I do think there is a possibility that Madueke could go. And look, if you're Noni Madueke, I'm looking at that Aston Villa team with Unai Emery as a manager. They just beat Preston 3-0 today. They're in an FA Cup semi-final, Champions League quarter-final. Rashford's probably going to join them permanently at the end of this loan. So he'll be on the left. The right-hand side for Aston Villa, I think Noni could go in there and start for them. And Aston Villa are a side where when you've got the players that they've got, you've got Emery as a manager, I think it's brilliant for Madueke. I'm not going to lie to you. But I don't really want him to be sold. I still think I want to see more. And I think there's a lot of auditions for Chelsea players between now and the end of the season. I think we're going to see a lot of players. And we'll know very quickly in the next few games who's actually got a future at the club and who doesn't. Let me know your thoughts on today's news stories in the comments down below. A little bit chilled. Some very silly stories in there, I know. But didn't want to go through too much depth right now because it is still March, for goodness sake. We've got 2 months of the season to go. I'm excited for Tottenham on Thursday, though. I'll tell you what, I have missed watching Chelsea play, and that is the biggest game of the season on Thursday. It's a big week to prepare. I'll see you guys later. Come on, you Blues.